What's up, guys? I am back, and today we're going to be doing a little welding project. I'm going to make a fab table. Since I got a bigger garage, I have a little more space now. Why not ruin all that space with a fab table? But seriously, I think it would be really cool to have a fab table and make my own at the same time. Save a lot of money, I think, and it'll give me a platform to be able to build stuff in the future and make everything super square. Like when I did my tube front, I was having so many issues because I was building it on a floor and it is not even. So my tubes would come out all cockeyed and stuff. So hopefully that'll help with that issue, and then it'll be nicer to have like a chair and put my welder on there and just relax and weld. So I'm gonna get started on cutting these up. I'm gonna flush up the edge, and then I'm gonna take my measurement off of that because I don't really trust the. It might be good. The factory edge there might be straight. I'll check it. I'm gonna leave, and then I'll just cut it off with the factory side. But basically, this is what I got. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna do like a rectangular prism there. The long runners. This is the bottom portion. If you're looking at it from above. It's going to be 71.5 inches long on each side, and then if you take account for the 2.5 inch square, I'm going to do a 37 inch horizontal here, and that's going to give me a total of 42 inches wide. And then same thing on top except for without the brace. And then the 4-inch casters, I'm just going to weld some plates on there and drill some holes and thread those on there. And just to give you guys an idea of how much I spent on this table versus buying one online, I was looking at like 3-foot tables for like anywhere from like $1,200 to $2,000, and like upwards of like $8,000 for a bigger table. So I was like, man, I should just make my own for a lot cheaper and it'll be fun, and I'll learn on the way. So for all this steel here, and that's 60 feet of the 1x3 and 60 feet of the 2.5 square tubing, I spent $309 on the steel after tax, and I don't know if they charged me for the cut, but I chopped them all in 10-foot sections to fit in my truck. And then the casters, I spent $89 after tax. So I think you could probably do cheaper on the casters, and that's brand new steel, so if you go to Remnants, you could probably even get it way cheaper. Okay, so I got everything measured out. 71.5 on center is the line, and I'm gonna cut the left side of my blade basically up to that line. So after I cut it, I'm not losing like a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and I did the same thing. I laid all my pieces out, marked them out to 33. I marked 2 points, used a square. Moved it over till my marker hit it, and then I made my lines, and then I put an X on the side. I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to cut to that black line, so it's not taking off extra material. Alright, now I'm just going to clean up the burr on the ends. There's like one burr on each piece basically. A lot less to clean up from using the abrasive saw. After all that cutting, that's all that's left, so super excited about that. Yeah, I'm going to clean up these edges, get them all ready for welding, and then we'll try to start chalking it up. So I got my 4 runners for the long parts of the frame, and then I got 4 horizontals, and then I got 4 legs. A big thing I would recommend is getting a little piece of wood, like a 2x4 or a 1x2, putting it on your saw, making a cut, checking it for square, making a mark on your fence, and adjust until it's 100% square. So I got 2 2x4s. I got a 2.5 by 2.5 square tubing on top of those 2x4s, and then I have the ones I'm going to be welding, which is my leg and my long runner, clamped to that, and that's going to make sure that these are on the same plane. So make sure there's no gap here, no gap there. I lined them up with this 90-degree magnet. I got that from Harbor Freight for like $2, something like that. And then all I did was line this up by eyeballing it, and then I checked it with a square, and then you can check your seams to make sure there's no gaps there. And as you can see, that's like dead on. If I don't have my feeler gauges next to me, but there's no room to go through there, so I think that's pretty tolerable clearance wise. So I'm going to tack these in place as best as I can to avoid getting this out of square, because when you're doing tubes, square tubing, every time you weld it, it's going to contract. Basically, you're making a molten puddle, so it's going to heat up, and then when it cools, it's going to contract, and it's going to pull the metal that way. So, for example, if I weld right here, it's going to kind of pull my leg that way, but since I got it clamped up like this, if I do like opposing corners while it's still hot, I'm thinking that'll even out the metal from distorting. So that's going to be the battle, is keeping it from distorting basically. So I will get on that, and then I will see you guys after that's done. So afterwards, if I hold the square up to it, we are square. And before you unclamp them, I recommend just letting it cool down for like 5 or 10 minutes, just so it doesn't move anymore. Let it all cool down and pull in place, and then you can move it. But yeah, we are all square. Alright guys, so she's all tacked together. Next step for me is going to be to start welding it out for the corners, and then we can start doing our slats. And to do that, the sequence you would want to do is going to be your outside seam first, and then go to the other corner, do the outside seam, and then this corner, do the outside seam, and then that corner, do the outside seam. Then you can come back and do your seams right here. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to go inside to out, and then right away do the other side. And that's going to make sure that they're both cooling at the same rate, I guess you want to say. And it's going to make sure it pulls the same. So if you just do one side, it would pull it. And then if you left that and go do something else, it might kind of start distorting everything. So you kind of want to hit this and hit this while it's still hot, so it cools together. And then just do it like you're putting on a lug nut on a car. What's up guys, we are back. I ran out of gas the other day when I was finishing welding up the table, but I did get most of the frame, at least one bead on each side and on the bottom, and then the tops I think are all welded out. So what I did was I used a flat wheel and I ground it smooth so it'll lay even on top there. And today I'm going to be cutting up the top slats, which are 1x3s. Okay guys, real quick, I'm going to show you how to set up your casters. So I got my plates bolted on, and I flip the bolts this way, so that way I can get a wrench in here to adjust my jam nut. And so basically this is the all thread right here. So I got my nut that's welded onto the base plate, and the reason we weld it to the base plate is so we can remove these in the future if these go out, and so that we don't heat up the ball bearings and ruin the caster itself. So we got this welded on here. I'm going to thread the all thread on there until it bottoms out on the plate. Bam. Now we have our jam nut. I'm going to butt that right up against there. We're going to take 2 wrenches, and then we're just, actually you don't even need 2 because this one's welded in place. You're going to tighten this one, and that's going to stop your caster from spinning off when you're actually adjusting it. It's going to hold this firm as if the all thread's welded to the base plate itself. Then we can do jam nut here. Okay, I'm just going to throw that on there, just like that. And then basically we're just going to thread it onto the other one that I have welded onto the frame itself. So we thread the caster in there. Just trying to show you how easy this is. It's pretty cool. I feel proud of this. Basically Tesla right now. Alright, so we'll just give it all we got for that one. Just gonna slide her on down till we pretty much bottom out. Yeah, let's just do that. Just bottom it out. So right there's where we stopped. Okay, and then all you do is you're gonna tighten this, jam that against that one with your wrenches, and then that's gonna lock your whole setup in place. So basically it's almost as if you don't have adjustable casters. You want to adjust it, you crack those loose, you can adjust each corner, and you're just gonna do that for each corner. So all in all, you're gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4 per corner. So you're gonna need 16 nuts total, and then 4 all threads, and they're like, I think they're like roughly 4 or 6 inches cut. Looks like about 6 inches. So there you go, and that's how you get some adjustable casters, man. Don't forget about these bolts. Alright guys, super excited. So this is the moment. See how she rolls. Yes. And I got a rolling welding table. Alright guys, so here's an update. Finished tacking everything in place, and basically what I did was I made my space. We have a block, and I made one for each side. So I got 2 tabs. These are both 1.5 inches. So I stuck one here, stuck one there, clamped the first one in place, clamped this one in place. Make sure you measure your 1 inch gap here, and then I just tacked. So scratch that. Also, what I did was I made sure this angle iron was flush against here and then flush against the bottom, and then on the other side as well. And then what I did was I actually put a clamp on this side and clamped this one against the 2x2. Same on this side, clamped against the 2x2, and then tacked 2 spots on the bottom here, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then continue the process all the way down. And every time I would move, I would place my spacer, check my measurement, use a C-clamp, and I would clamp the angle iron to the middle of this. That way it's on the same plane, and then I would just continue the process all the way down on both sides. So that worked pretty well, and now I'm about to flip the whole thing over and weld it out onto, I'm going to set it on top of those ones so it doesn't warp or anything. And I'm just going to space it out so I don't put too much heat in it. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Alrighty, so this is all buttoned up. I got this cut and ground with a flap disc so it's not sharp. And now you can see what I was trying to achieve. How cool is that? Everything keeps its spacing. Just sits there. And then the whole thing can just lift out. So if I need to replace those later on or whatever, it's pretty cheap to do. And then for the rest of these, same concept but individuals. Okay, so lastly, what I'm going to be doing is for this plate right here, I'm going to grind off the galvanized on it. The galvanization, whatever. And I'm going to put it, I'm going to drill probably a little hole here, which is going to give me access for a square tube to fit in. I'm probably going to do like a 1x1. And, or even a 2x2, because this is 2.5 by 2.5, and then I'll be able to mount my vise. That's my sexy wife.
Are you done?
Alright guys, that about wraps this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video or you learned something. And I'll see you guys on the next video. I got a bunch of stuff planned, lots of mods to this table I'm going to do. And I'm super impressed with how it came out because it's super flat, which is so helpful. You have no idea. But yeah, lots of stuff to come, like roll bars, roll cages. My buddy from Cinder Track Fab up in Idaho, we're going to be taking a trip up to Idaho for the other chassis. We're going to do a pro cage in that one. So, yeah, should be pretty cool, man. And then I got some stuff coming in the mail, and we're going to end up wiring the whole 240SX project coming up. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.